Hey y'all, happy Thursday or whatever, or wherever it is, wherever you at, or whenever you watching. Happy day to you. So yes, let's get into it. Y'all saw the title. Yes, I have manifested $60,000 before. Now, I'm gonna tell you this, cause I'm a very transparent person. I don't sugarcoat anything that I have experienced, baby. I promise you, I'm going to share it with the world. I'm going to share it with y'all. You can manifest money. You can manifest whatever you want, whatever your heart's desire. Nothing is never not obtainable for you. However, when you get it, is what you do with it. So, you know what I'm saying? Let's get into it. So, let me tell you how I manifested $60,000. So, it was, I want to say like what the fuck? I'm finna tell a scary movie on it. But no, it was like back in 2020. I moved into my first house on my own. Yay me, right after I had my last baby or whatever. Tell me what God can't do. And I also manifested that house too. But we're gonna talk about that on another day. But yeah, manifested my home, 3-bedroom or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Just me, 2 jobs, 3 kids, you know, everybody had their own room. And I got exactly what I wanted. And it was when I had got deeper into my spiritual journey. I had started doing the shadow work, but I also started learning how to manifest. And I'm going to also put in a disclaimer, and I'm going to also make another video as well, because I get sick of people feeling like when they hear people or women like me talk about manifesting, but then you turn a blind eye to people's spiritual journey. I just call bullshit. But anyway, yeah. Before that, I was getting more into my spiritual journey. I was learning things about me, and it was always like anytime that I had learned something about myself, it was always like a level of like my boyfriend got me watching Dragon Ball Z, so it's kind of like one of those things where you like level up into, like, you know what I'm saying, the Goku with the gold hair, and then, you know what I'm saying, the Goku that get the tail, then he turned into the monkey or whatever, like the Super Saiyan. But yeah, it was one of those things where I was starting to, like, you know what I'm saying, level up in my spiritual journey. Like, I was learning how to stand on business. I was learning how to be firm, and I was learning how to tell the universe exactly what it is that I wanted, and I stood firm on it. And I also put the work in. Let me say that again. I also put the work in. Okay? So let's not leave that out. But yeah, like I said, I ended up manifesting my home. Now, granted, what's so crazy is I got bamboozled out of a fucking job. Okay? Yeah. Bamboozled out of a job. So I was working at the child support office, and I was also doing Asurion or whatever. Like, I was, you know, the phone insurance place, of course. Like, I would travel to them, get them replacement day phones. You know what I'm saying? The whole 9 stuff like that. So I did the work. I put the work in. You know what I'm saying? Got what I wanted. Asked God to help me, lead me along the way. And then he did. Big Daddy did. Clocked that T. And, yeah. So initially I was supposed to work at the I, the R, the S. And how their whole hiring system goes, baby, just blew my goddamn mind, because it was no black or white. It was always a gray area. So if it's like, if you're telling me I'm in the process of getting hired, in my mind of me getting hired, quote unquote, that means I need to go ahead and put my 2 weeks notice in at my other job. So by me doing that, I didn't get the fucking job. So now I'm out of my Asurion job, where it's like once you leave out the system, you have to wait like 6 months or some shit like that. And then the child support office, I was just like, I put my 2 weeks notice in, but I was just like to hear with, like, y'all weren't paying me enough. And the fact that I just was never one of those women to where I felt compelled to work 2 jobs anywhere. Like, I never wanted to be that hard working woman. That was not my cup of tea. That was not in the cards for me. I just knew it in my spirit. I was overworking the shit out of myself. I had just had a baby. I have 2 already. That was just too much on me. I never want to be, I always said I never want to be that woman. Even my mama knew. She already knew, baby. I'm not an extra hard working woman. I shouldn't have to work that hard. But yeah, I ended up leaving that job. So basically I was just, you know, kind of went without a job or whatever. Lights still stayed on. Food was still in the home. Now the house, normally when you rent out houses, they don't always come with the appliances. So you just have to think of the extra fucking money that you have to even get appliances. So you got to get a refrigerator, you got to get a stove, you got to get a washer and dryer. Like, you got to get the whole now on top of new furniture that you got to get for your home already. Not knowing how the hell I'm gonna do this, not knowing how the hell it's gonna happen, but I trusted God. I kept the work in, did, you know what I'm saying, did my thing, continuing on my journey. I didn't allow me, even in the midst of the times where everything was so confusing, I didn't allow it to deter the faith that I had already kept. Now keep following that, keep listening, because I'm finna shut the Christians up. So, like I said, it was just so much in my mind. It was just so much that was just getting packed on me. And you know what I'm saying, like I said, I'm just trying to figure out how to maintain between jobs, stuff like that. So ended up back working. Did the work from home, you know. It was cool. It was alright. That wasn't for me. I don't give a damn how comfortable it was. It was just too much. It was just too much to where I had to be compelled into staying in the house all day against my will. Like, I can't go get no McDonald's. Then I was door dashing on the side too. So I'm like, okay, this cool. This look, waiting on this every 2 weeks shit cool, but I need some money on today. You know what I'm saying? Like tonight. So, you know, it was just so much that I was just trying to do, and I was doing all this by myself. And so, like I said, I was still on my spiritual journey. I had started learning what altars and stuff was. So, one thing about it, God is always the higher source to me than anything. I don't care if I give thanks to my ancestors. I don't care if I give thanks to my spiritual guides. I don't care if I give thanks to certain deities. I will always keep God the head of my life. So, like I said, I started learning altars. You know, I started giving thanks. Same way that you will see them do at church where they have those little altars. Yeah, you guys have the same things. Clock it. Yeah, I set out an altar. I set out my offerings for them. Anytime that I was giving thanks to anyone else, I will always make sure. Now, if you are a person that is spiritual, you always make sure that the person that you are also giving thanks to, that you are needing help from, that is something that they like. Don't just be giving them no goddamn fruit roll-ups or no Oreo cookies because you eat it. It's not what they want. Like, in this moment in my life now, I give thanks to Emaya. Emaya, her favorite number is 7. Her favorite color is blue. I always give her a cowrie shell. She eats pomegranate. I gotta refresh her stuff anyway. Watermelons, you know, things like that. So when I say you give offerings based off what they like, if you're going to reach out to them, you have to give them something, you know what I'm saying, back in return. Like, it's just like when you go to church and you tithe, you have to give something to get something. And it's just the same thing. And like with God, I always give my thanks. I always, you know, I do my little one too. Like I said, I was so much into learning my spiritual journey that I had to figure out my placement, because I was at that point in my life where I did not allow myself to be confined by a religion. I felt like God is omnipresent, and most of my blessings and my prayers had always been answered when I talked to God on my own. Anyway, I didn't need a crowd. I'm not a social person anyway, so, you know, I heard God best. No matter what somebody tried to tell me, no matter what somebody tried to deter me from, no matter how people told me that, oh my God, you worshiping the devil, you witchcraft, or this stuff like that. If you are a person that reads the Bible, then you know that herbs and stones and crystals and things like that were also used as, you know, ways to follow the coordinates in the sky when they went to go deliver Jesus's gifts, which was frankincense, myrrh, and I want to say it was gold. I'm not sure. I can't remember that story. You know, they used to tell us that when they was little. But yeah, they did offer him those essentials. So yes, let's not forget that. I don't know what y'all thought they had back in the day. I don't know why y'all thought they had cell phones to communicate and give gifts and things of that nature. And everything was done by nature because it was created from the earth that God had created. Hello. But you know, you can't tell the people nothing. But yeah, same thing that they used back in the Bible, I will use today. And I will, you know, fulfill God's promises, wishes, whatever he assigned me on the earth to do. I will make sure that I will be in a healthy space to do so. So that also, the thing is, when you manifest, like I said, I'm leading up to it. When you start to manifest the things that you want, you have to also learn your power. You have to learn yourself. So with that being said, I was also doing chakra work. And with chakra work, I was learning how to be more grounded in my thoughts. I was learning how to be more rooted in my thoughts, allow myself to create a stable mind. So when I ask for things and I pray for things, I have to stand in what I really want. And I have to be consistent and very what's the word I'm looking for? Detailed, if you will, when it comes to the things that I want, because subconsciously that's where your true thoughts come from. You can say, oh, I want a car. But subconsciously, this is a specific type of car. And it ain't nothing wrong with it. And it was just one of those things where I had to really learn how to center myself and not be afraid to ask, because I grew up in a household where it was like, you can't really ask for certain stuff because, with the parents being frustrated, money-wise, it's like you just don't know if they gonna yell or what. So you just learn how to just shut the hell up. But as I got older and I started to learn myself, I started to learn how to really be intentional about what I asked for and what I wanted and what my heart's desire, and not be afraid to ask for the things that I want, because God is omnipresent and God is a God of all possibilities. So what's the harm in wanting things that your heart's desire, especially if you are moving correctly on this earth? So I was learning myself, like I said, and when it came to dating, I was dating very broken men, and I know I kind of don't give a damn about the lesson that I learned, but at the same time, I kind of do. But I just knew that the things that I allowed myself to go through, knew that I was a person of forgiveness. I was a person of empathy. I was a person of chances, for sure. But I also knew when to let certain stuff go. Like, I knew when to, say no. I knew when a lot of shit was just not for me. So, the dating life, it was just kind of crazy. But at the same token, I was just kind of in the element of learning how to more so love myself, like standing on business when it came to myself, learning my discernment and my intuition a whole lot better, and starting to really understand God is with you in every step of the way. So in that spiritual journey around that time, I was learning how to pray, I was learning how to manifest, I was learning sex magic, and it helped me to learn more about my body and understanding the power of the feminine womb, and understanding my sacral and my solar plexus. So it was a lot, baby. I was doing a lot. I learned how to do scripting, stuff like that. And so amongst all of that, I was always making sure that my households were clean. One thing about it, I don't care what nobody say, pray. Every day you need to pray. Sometimes you don't even need to ask for nothing when you pray. Just be grateful and thankful. Just be grateful and thankful in the things that you already have, because if you came from a position where you had none of that at first, be thankful for what you have now, even if it's a small thing. Because God has always said, if I bless you with a little, then I will abundantly bless you with a lot. So, yeah. And I was making my own oils, and then I discovered, leaning more towards the health side. I had ended up selling sea moss, so I had ended up starting my own business. I was already in the fitness journey, so I just didn't take it seriously. But God had led it onto my friend's heart to be like, girl, you need to start personal training. Okay, what's the harm in it? Started doing that. Then started to expand. So they also started to, bring in income as well, along with my sea moss business. So I ended up starting my business and stuff like that. And like I said, I started scripting. I started doing water scripting, different things like that. Because like I said again, I'm telling you all this to say that when you do start manifesting, it's not going to be easy. You just have to find your strengths and your superpowers. What works for you, what does not work for you. But everything does not work for you. A lot of people do scripting. A lot of people are good at alchemizing things. A lot of people are good at doing spell work. A lot of people are good at sex magic. A lot of people are good at, just being intentional. You don't even have to do a lot. And a lot of people's blessings and manifestations come from also giving thanks to their ancestors and their deities or orishas, whichever one you choose to. Now, I will say that I did try to reach out to Oshun. Baby, she was not going. Miss Ma'am came in and started wrecking stuff. You hear me? When I say windows was breaking in the house and I was smelling burnt up rubber. And I didn't know where the hell that was coming from. And so, yeah. Me and her didn't get along, Maybe I just wasn't as yellow as I thought I was, as golden as I thought I was. But, yeah. And so, after I got done with that, I was just like, what the hell? And something just was like, just manifest $25,000. Manifest 25. Don't ask where it came from. Don't worry about how it comes, because there's one thing about it. When you do start to manifest, do not have your mind on focusing where it's going to come from. The fact that you are asking and you are opening your mind up subconscious to the opportunity of, manifesting, and you know what I'm saying God, it, like I said, he's always omnipresent, so he's always listening. But I was like, hey, what the hell? Because I was watching the YouTube videos like everybody else doing. I'm watching, I'm like, oh yeah, I manifested this and that. How the hell you do that? But it's kind of easier said than done when you let it go. So yeah, ended up getting 25,000. Hey, fuck it, we ball. Me and my kids outside, we taking trips. You know what I'm saying, stuff like that. I'm invested in my business now. I will say this, because I was not educated enough in learning how to invest in my money. Yeah, but we'll get into that. But like I said, I was just enjoying it, doing all the things that I wanted to do, needed to do, whatever the case. So I was like, okay, shit, this how. And then end up getting another $25,000. My God, baby, he was showing out. Them 2 years, he was showing out. You hear me? Yes, God, he was showing out. So he always put me, this is how I knew that God was real, because like I said, I ended up, I skipped something. Even with the work from home job and the DoorDash, I had ended up no longer working there because I got the job at the IRS like months later. Worked at the IRS. It was not what I thought it was. It was not what I thought it was going to be. It's a hell no for me. Yeah, tried it. You know how I was in that time where it's like if you had one of those good known trending jobs, you was on. But that's when I just knew, like, I don't hop on the trend with everybody else. This ain't for me. I can't do this. Like, this not for me. And I don't like overworking my mind. And I don't like not being instructed what to do, because it's the IRS. Like, you want to make sure that you know what you're saying and you know what you're doing. And I just feel like I was just thrown out there to the wolves, and I don't like confusion. I don't like confusion at all. So, I bowed out gracefully, put in my 2 weeks. When I say I went back and forth with myself for weeks about whether I wanted to quit, because I was so scared, because I grew up in a household where my mom worked 2 jobs, or she worked 1 job and they worked the dog shit out of her. And I just didn't want to get in that rabbit hole where I felt like, if I don't have a job, I don't know how I'm going to do this. But baby, like I said, I could not do confusion. I didn't have any peace. So I just said to hell with it, baby. Whatever the risk going to be, I hope it's a reward behind it. And so that's when the income and the money on and stuff started rolling, like 25,000, stuff like that. So I'm like, damn, I done touched way more money without a job than I did with one. I'm like, all it took was for me to, do this. Like, but it wasn't just me like doing little manifestation stuff like that. It was me actually doing the work, and it had to be an eternal thing. And I feel like no matter what type of YouTube videos you show, even if you look at this video and after you hear me say, you like, I don't want to hear that shit. I'm telling you, that's the only way. That is the secret to being able to manifest what you want, because you have to truly be intentional, and you have to truly, it's a neurological thing if you really think about it, because subconsciously, how you probably thought of like a penny. Just out of the blue, you just thought of a penny, and next thing you know, you see a penny on the ground. You ain't seen no penny all week. In this day and age, baby, you rarely see money. So a lot of people really got carrying no money like that. But all of a sudden, the day you think about a penny, you see plenty of pennies on the ground. That's just how manifestation works. All it takes is you to have a thought, and it can manifest. But the hard part about it is when we get in a point of a survival mode, where we consistently think about it over and over again, even after we done prayed on it, even after we done manifested, we keep thinking about it over and over and over again. And so we're in this position to where we're moving, we're trying to make things move on our time, and not understanding that it moves on God's time. Because the thing about it is, once you think about something and you let it go, you trusted that thought enough to just be like, a penny, whatever. And you let it go. Because now you set the intentions, and you've made a gravitational pull to that thought. Now give me that, listen to me that. You made a gravitational pull to that thought. You made a gravitational pull to the thought of you thinking about a penny. Just a simple thought. But when you overthink it, the thing is you start to question it. You start to doubt it. You start to feel like, I can't get that shit. Like, I ain't worthy of getting it. You're telling, subconsciously, you may not feel like you're telling yourself that, you know, you're not worthy of it. But deep down inside, just because of the lifestyle that you're used to where you've had to work for every goddamn thing, and you feel like it's just unimpossible or unobtainable to obtain money or obtain certain things, you can. You have the power to, but it's so hard to. That's where the hard part comes in, because you have to unlearn and relearn a lot of your thought process. Like, you have to unlearn the fact that your parents may have told you had to do certain things to get certain stuff. No, if you are right within, you have done the work on yourself, you have grounded yourself, you have meditated, elevated yourself in an internal fashion, not external, but internal fashion, you can get whatever you want in this lifetime. A dream is only a thought that you can turn into reality. Get me? So anything you dream of, you have to think that dream was not put in your head for no reason. That thought was not put into your head for no reason. When you ask God for things, you ask Spirit for things, and it comes to you, it was made for you because you said it out there, you were intentional, and you allowed it to let go because you trusted yourself enough to know that I can have it. But I know when I get it, it came to me when it was due, and it came to me when it was time. So, you know, it's just one of those things where I was in that moment of my life where, yeah, I just took a risk. I was like, fuck, you know, shit. It is what it is. And once I had got to that point, hold up, y'all. Yeah. Cat acting crazy. But yeah, once I had got to that point where I was like, damn, it's, you know, I can have this life. I can do this. But the thing about it is, now let me tell you this, and this is where I messed up at. I got so high in my horse, and I got so high up my tail to where when it was rolling in, I forgot to completely do the things that I said I was going to do. I wrote out all these intentions. I scripted, you know what I'm saying? I burned my candles. I burned my papers, and I sent it to God. But even after I got it, because I wasn't used to this particular type of, you know what I'm saying, money so fast, I blew it. I totally blew it. So, you know, I invested in my business, but I didn't necessarily put the full work in. It was just certain things that I let fall by the wayside, feeling like, if I'm invested in that, I can do it again. And that's where we all mess up at. That's where you see people have this certain amount, or they big at this point, and then it comes back. It's nothing, like, again, nothing in this life is not obtainable to you. It's not accessible, but there still has to be work that's done, and I think we forget that part. There still has to be the internal work that has to be done to maintain it. That's why when I tell people to work on their root chakra, you have to be disciplined and you have to be grounded when you set your intentions out, and you have to stick with it, and you have to stick to it. When you get the blessing that you got, and when you get the things that you pray so hard for, you have to learn how to maintain it. Now, granted, again, I always say nothing is not off limits to you in this lifetime, but you have to do the necessary things to keep it and expand it and multiply it. So that way you won't never have to go back to a point where you working so hard to feel like, well, damn, what next? And that's where I was at in my life. So like I said, anything that you want, you can have, but you have to have the discipline, and the wisdom to keep it and multiply it. And also still, no matter what, still be grateful. I don't care if it's good days, bad days, it's indifferent, irrational, whatever. Still be thankful for the things that you have. And even when you do get it, still be thankful in the hell. If you lose it, still be thankful because there was an experience that you thought you would never have. So, you know, that's just how I was able to manifest. Like I said, you can still do when it comes down to it, and the bottom line, you can do all the work, you can do all the scripting, you can do all the spiritual work, you can do all the manifest, you can do all the things that you watch on YouTube, but if there is no internal work done to where you can trust yourself and understand that if you are a part of God and you are made in God's image, then you can have anything that you set your mind to, you won't obtain it. you will obtain it. And that's just the secret sauce to it. You have to really trust within yourself and in your thoughts to know that you are worthy of this. Is, you know what I'm saying, it's obtainable to you. You're worthy of it. And you got to trust it and let it go. Like, you can't figure out when it's gonna come. You can't be at the door like, all right, you know, where you at? Kind of prayed for you last night. Kind of need that by 12 o'clock. Yeah, it don't work like that. It don't work like that. So you have to really trust in the divine and trust within yourself and trust your relationship with God enough to know that He heard you. God hears us all. He heard you for sure. But once you say your prayer, once you've done the work, you just have to move forward. You have to continue to do the work because, like I said, it's an alignment. So you have to, when you ask for certain things, you have to move in the alignment of having that thing. Like we always say, especially us women, we want to be a wife, but we still doing single women activities. We don't want to be told what to do. We don't want to get up and cook for nobody. We don't want to just pray over a man. We don't want to just, if he asks us to do anything outside other than what we feel like we should do, we don't want to do it. So now you're going through this whole loophole of bouncing through different types of men or different type of relationships because you feel like you're supposed to be granted the ring and the marriage that come with it, but you are not ready for the actual work that needs to be put in. So everything has to be intentional and everything has to be in alignment with you and your thoughts. So yes, that's how I got my little money. That's got my little 60,000 wow. You know, like I said, it sounds so simple, but when you have, I don't want to say it's a mental illness, but when you have thoughts where you are not clear and you doubt yourself a lot and you worry a lot, it's going to be so hard, baby. It's going to be so hard. You have to already move. Like, you have to already say, you got to start moving in that way. Like, if you ask for money, not saying go out and spend money that you don't have, but you have to operate in a manner to where it's like it's already given to you. Because it's a mental thing that can be turned as a physical, you know, if you understand it. So, yeah, that's my little message for y'all tonight. And like I said, you know, the YouTube videos, they're always out there. They're always a resource. They're resources for you to get to where you need to be. But the real work has to be done internally. So I hope this resonates with someone. I hope this has given someone a better understanding of how to manifest. No matter what, always have a relationship with God. No matter who it is or what it is that you do, your first and foremost is God above. No matter what. Even if you don't know your placement, if you are a spiritual worker or if you're a person that works with Orishas, if you're not sure of who you resonate with, because all Orishas do not like you. Let me say that. All of them do not like you. Me and Yemaya doing just fine. I get her stuff, baby. Me and her are cool. Me and Oshun, I leave her where she at, honey. All respect to you, baby. But yeah, me and her, we just do not see eye to eye, and that may be why. But because she is a gender Orisha, so yeah. But I always giving my thanks to God, and no matter who I gave thanks to, they always respected it. So yeah. If y'all are feeling this video, if you have liked what you heard, if you have any thoughts, if you have any opinions, or whatever the case may be, definitely leave it out in the comments. Again, y'all just like and subscribe, and I will talk to y'all until next time.